So we have to mathematically derive consumer equilibrium conditions. So suppose we have a utility function, a simple utility function, that is u equals to u of x1 x2. Okay, price vector is say p1 p2, and income of the consumer is m. So our budget line becomes p1 x1 plus p2 x2 equals to m. That is, a total expenditure on x1 and x2 is equal to total income. So entire income is spent. Consumer is on the budget line and not within the budget set. Okay, now we'll form up a Lagrange. Okay, we try to maximize this objective function, which is our utility function, subject to this budget constraint. So we can maximize that utility subject to the budget we have. Okay, so it is ux1 x2 plus lambda m minus p1 x1 minus p2 x2. Okay, so we'll find out three partial derivatives, that is del L by del x1, which will be del u by del x1 minus lambda p1 equals to 0, del L by del x2, which is del u by del x2 minus lambda p2 equals to 0, and del L by del lambda, which is m minus p1 x1 minus p2 x2 equals to 0. Okay, I hope this is clear that this utility function is implicitly defined in terms of x1 and x2. So when we are derivating this with only respect to x1, so we are keeping x2 constant, and that is the reason we are using partial derivatives. So we have del u by del x1 like this, and you have lambda p1. So just number these three equations and you'll have this, and dividing 1 by 2, you'll be getting del u by del x1 upon del u by del x2 is equal to p1 by p2. But you know this, that this del u by del x1 is nothing but mu x1, that is marginal utility which you derived from x1, and this is mu x2, which is the marginal utility you derived from x2. Well, all of this is actually equal to your MRS, okay, for x1 for x2. Okay, this we have done in our other topic, that mu x1 by mu x2 is nothing but MRS x1 x2. So in equilibrium, this condition holds, that is MRS x1 x2 is equal to p1 by p2. Remember this, that p1 by p2 is the objective valuation, okay, while MRS is subjective valuation. Okay, what is the difference? Objective valuation is something which market takes care of, that is market has decided what is going to be the price of the two commodities, not you. Similarly, now unlike that, your MRS is something which you have decided. Okay, now p1 by p2 is the opportunity cost of x1 in terms of x2. MRS x1 x2 is the subjective valuation, in the sense that it is in somewhere in your psyche you have understood like this, that okay, I'll substitute x1 for x2 in this ratio. Fine. So that is your valuation, that is a subjective valuation, that is in your control, not p1 by p2. Okay, so equilibrium is going to be defined at this point, that is your MRS x1 x2 is equal to p1 by p2. Now the point is that if you have a look at all of this, okay, now just from the first equation, okay, you can write in terms of lambda, del u by del x1 upon p1 is equal to lambda. Okay, and del u by del x2 upon p2 is equal to lambda. So both of these lambdas are equal, so your lambdas is del u by del x1 by p1 is equal to del u by del x2 by p2. Okay, so but del u by del x1 is nothing but mu x1 by p1 is equal to mu x2 by p2. Okay, so each good purchased should yield the same marginal utility per dollar, the same marginal utility per dollar. Okay, spent on that good. Each good, therefore, should have an identical marginal benefit to cost ratio. If this were not true, one good would have more marginal benefit per dollar as compared to the other good. Okay, and your money is not going to be optimally allocated. So if mu x1 by p1 is greater than mu x2 by p2, it means that the utility which you derive from consuming one more unit of x1 is greater than the utility which you derive from one more unit of x2. Okay, so you will be rather, deciding in order to have more of x1. Okay, so it means that something is not in equilibrium. So, and remember this, that an extra dollar should yield the same additional utility. It should yield, I'm again repeating this, it should yield the same additional utility, okay, no matter on what good it is spent on. Whether it is spent on x1 or it is spent on x2, it should yield the same additional utility. Okay. In case if it is not, then as I've told you the different cases, marginal utility from one of the good could be benefit from one of the good could be higher than the other one, and hence it will not lead to the equilibrium. Okay, the common value for this extra utility, okay, this extra utility which you derive is given by lambda. So this is the interpretation of the Lagrange multiplier. Okay, so thanks.